Welcome to this new episode of The Disabled Life. The purpose of this podcast is to tell people how I live my life. The name I'm using on the podcast now is The Disabled Guy, because I felt that you needed to hear something as opposed to just my voice there. I'm a disabled male living in Florida with cerebral palsy. I'm here to tell you how I live my life and some of the volunteer work that I do and how I manage to do it with cerebral palsy. Without further ado, let's go into the episode. Well, what I'm going to talk about today is something about travel that I spoke about a little bit in the previous episode. Okay, when I was a child and going to Costa Rica, it was a lot more difficult because there was no elevators, like I said. Now today, I'm going to talk to you about how the contrasts are. When I started going as a child, well, I used to go often because a family member, my dad, just worked for an airline. But now let me explain. Now, if there is a second floor in a new construction, I say not old construction, any new construction needs to have at least one elevator. And there is a very, very good handicap parking system. Anybody, I think it's 50 or above, I believe, I'm not sure, but they can use the handicap parking. If they have handicap parking, it's accessible, and also it's very well policed. Let me talk about something here. In order to go to a lot of the volcanoes in those places, I had to get put on somebody's back when I was a kid. Now I don't have to do that because they have tourism restaurants at the same locations where you can actually go and sit down at a restaurant and eat a meal and look at the same views, but you're not able to go everywhere. That's okay. I don't have a problem with not going everywhere. But now let me talk about the stores. A lot of stores now also take dollars instead of the colon, which is the Costa Rican national currency. But be careful with that because they don't exchange. What they do is they take a dollar and they give you a rate. For example, a cart full of food in Costa Rica, one day that I bought one, it was $40 American dollars. The way I know that is because we used a credit card, and that's what the total was in dollars. So I'll tell you, the accessibility has gotten much better. People are used to seeing us on the street now. It's not like before that we were treated like aliens. If you remember in the previous episode, I talked about being treated like an alien, being looked at, being stared at when I was out in public with my cousins and or my family. That was uncomfortable, but oh well, that's what it was. And a lot of the disabled now have jobs with the government. A lot of them have jobs at 911 centers. You know what brought this on? The tourism. The tourism just brought all this. There are taxis in Costa Rica that are a number of taxis are required to have lifts. That is great because it has helped the community. Not only the tourism has helped the community, and I'm happy with that because I'll tell you, the tourism sometimes tourism is what needs to happen. In Costa Rica, tourism that's how they live. That's how the country lives, by tourism. With COVID, problem because tourism was shut down. I personally know people in my family that lost their jobs because of the COVID. So you know how much tourism is dependent in Costa Rica to actually live. And I'll tell you something else. It's something trivial, but even the food in restaurants have changed. Some people say that you shouldn't drink the water in Costa Rica as a tourist. Yes, there are places I won't drink it. In the city, I'm okay. In anywhere out of the city, no. I'll drink bottled water. I'll drink beer. I'll drink things like that. But I'll say this: tourism has changed Costa Rica for the better. For not only the disabled community, but the people. Not only for the disabled tourists, but for the tourists, for the people that are also that live there that have disabilities. A lot of them are now out in the world doing things. When I first started going there as a child, I did not see another disabled person. Now I've seen them walking around. I see blind people walking around with dogs. I see blind people walking around with canes. I see people in wheelchairs moving around. I see those things. I am as a fellow disabled person, I love that because I think that nobody has to be shut in their house. The only thing that I'm seeing is that the easiest way for a disabled person to travel to Costa Rica is to stay in hotels, because the hotels have to have at least one disability accessible room. I'm sorry, I almost said the wrong way. One accessible room. It has to have a shower, a roll-in shower, etc. I'm going to talk about something else, about a little bit of something else here. Yeah, in Costa Rica, some of the tourism spots are not accessible. But I say all spots cannot be accessible. I wish it could be, but due to things that happen, you can't. I'm going to talk to you about something in the next couple of episodes about a cruise I went on and how accessible and how nice that was. So let me say thank you. I mean, not thank you. It's something that I enjoy. I enjoy traveling to Costa Rica. I've not seen my family in a while because my dad no longer works for the airlines. He's retired. So we can't go as much as we did. So I'll say this: if you can travel to Costa Rica and see the things that I've talked about, I've stayed in beach houses. I've stayed in a beach house with some family members of ours. I mean, friends of ours that have one. It's so beautiful. The beaches are beautiful. A lot of tourist places are beautiful. I personally stay away from a lot of tourist traps. I eat where the locals eat because it is the same. It's the same food, maybe a lower quality food, but it is something that I enjoy because it's different. The food is different because we're not used to it. Meats are different. They taste different. I was talking to one of our friends' wives in Costa Rica. I was telling her that the meat tastes different. She said yes, because you are used to the meat in your country. She said that to her, the meat tastes different when she comes over to the United States. I thought it was the meat, the freshness in Costa Rica, but I realized that no, that it is just something we are not used to. So, let me say this. So, it's nice to get to travel, but sometimes it's more difficult than more difficult than a normal person. But don't let that stop you from enjoying yourself, because that is important. Enjoy where you can go. I know some of us can't travel as far. It's difficult to travel. I've got the opportunity to do road trips here locally. I enjoy those too. With that, thank you for listening, and I'm going to give you my email address so that you can contact me if you wish, and I will definitely put it in my show notes this time. Last week I decided to do that, and I forgot to put it. This is going to be my first Wednesday episode. Normally, I podcast and schedule them for Saturday, but this is going to be my first Wednesday episode. With that, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. My email address is ke4key@gmail.com. Feel free to email me at that address, and I will definitely contact you. Please rate.